All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention.
You
So
touched on
they,
you touched on the dietary essential, the sprouts.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the genetics for to grow sprouts in your house for everybody to
Yeah,
grow.
yeah.
Is that does that
You'll just have a little LCD light, a LED light,
really?
okay? And you keep it in your kitchen, okay, over a little tray, and you grow your own jar of sprouts.
And you can grow sprouts in what? What's the timeline?
Put it in salads, put it in a sandwich.
But
What we're looking
how
at
long
is
does it take to sprout a sprout?
they are ready between 12 and 14 days, but we're doing a study over here now to determine exactly that, because we already know that there are some hemp seeds that have hemp or cannabis seeds that have way more bioactives that are both medical and nutritional. For example, you know the strain Carmagnola, okay? Carmagnola comes from Italy. That's what the Italians use to make the finest linens. Okay, that's the hemp they use. But they did studies on it, and they found out it's also high in all of these things. So what we're going to be doing is working with a university here and bringing in all kinds of different seed, sprouting it, and then testing it from day 5 to day 15, day 16, and we will see when that spike goes up and then when it goes back down. But there's a possibility that we're looking at for being able to freeze dry those sprouts so you could get them in a powdered form as well, that you could mix into other kinds of foods.
That in between the 10 and 14 days, they're at a peak of all the terpenes and cannabinoids and
right.
Wow.
Right, and we'll have by the time we're done with the study, we'll have a graph that shows you really when is the best time to eat these things. But again, we're going to have to get the cost of the seed down. And remember, if you want to buy good marijuana seeds in the U.S., you're going to pay $20 or more a seed.
Right.
If you're going to buy good hemp, if you're going to buy good feminized hemp seed, what do you look at? $2 to $5 a seed. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Right now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, you can't do that if you're going to grow it for sprouts. A tray of sprouts
Right.
can cost you $800.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why getting the genetics squared away is the next thing that needs to be done. Because for 80 years, when you talk about doing selective breeding, you would take, for instance, 100,000 of a particular seed, okay? And you grow them all out. And you find the ones that are taller, the ones that are shorter, the ones that have bigger seeds, smaller seeds, the ones that are more resistant to pests, the ones that are more resistant to fungus. And now you take that antifungal from this one and the size from this one. Now we merge all these together and we get a plant exactly the height we want that has got all the best properties of that. And we turn that into a single DNA strain. And now you get like what you got with the wheat, one crop, all the same height that you can process with a harvester.
Right.
So those are the genetics thing is going to be the key to where the hemp and cannabis industry go next.
It's great workout. It's great cardiovascular workout. So again, I'm really
It's
big about the
It's a
aquatics.
great way to start. It's a great way to start if you're our age.
Yes.
Okay. And you're just now going to start exercising after 30 years.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What you just described in the swimming pool is how I started, and I needed that. I mean, I just couldn't have done anything but working out in the pool. But I lost, my doctor told me I had to, said everything we're doing for your back is not working, okay? Because your feet are shot. I've got the worst flat feet in the world, kept me out of Vietnam. But he said, you're gonna have to do two things. You're gonna have to lose weight and you're gonna have to swim every day. So I went on keto, I lost 60 pounds. I got a 34-inch waist that I haven't had since, high school. I've got a 37-year-old fiance, so it's kind of like I just started all over, like what you're talking about. Like, oh, okay, well, I kind of like this. I can make it feel 100, so I better take care of it, right?
I think I'm at the head down there to visit you in Thailand here soon. Then.
Yeah. If you haven't been to Thailand, you need to go. To
No, I've never been to Thailand yet, but Kevin was sharing with some information about one of the MMA fighters that I'm aware of, but that he has an MMA gym down there. It's kind of going, oh, that's an easy thing to simply now try to reach out to him, contact him, and travel on in there, maybe do a couple of different days where I'm actually instructing some of his athletes. Different things that they really should be looking in for the MMA game, but then also just to see your operation. So it's a way for me just to do multiple things in one area, and stay a little longer.
The fighter is Mike Swick. He's in Phuket. He's Tiger Muay Thai. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of it. Tiger Muay Thai. Yeah, Mike Swick.
Well, Phuket's open. Most of the country still, they can't decide whether or not they want to bring tourism back or not, and they've opened it and closed it about 16 times now, to the point where all the things you have to do to get in here now, you have to wear one blue shoe and one red shoe. You don't know from day to day what paperwork you're going to need. So they pretty much over the last year killed off all of the tourist industry here. The largest tourist industry in the world, by the way.
You know what? I wanted to ask you too. Did you guys get any effect of that tsunami?
Well, not much, but I'm up north. I'm in the capital of northern Thailand, which is Chiang Mai, and if we got tsunami up here, it would be a real news story because we're up fairly high.
Because Northern California, we got all kinds of warnings. The whole coast up to I think parts of Washington. There was a warning for a higher tide, kind of flooding. Nothing really transpired, but because of that tsunami. Did you hear about that, Dan?
No, I gotta say I've been watching the news a great deal now. Most of all of it is political type of news, but I mean the news nevertheless.
Yeah, the island of Tonga, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, island of Tonga, but you know what? I watched the video. And when you watch the video, you hear an explosion like a bomb. Okay, I lived in Hawaii, so I know about how volcanoes work. And first, you start out with an earthquake. Okay, that's the plates moving that's causing this thing to go up. And it's the earthquake that not the eruption, it's the earthquake that creates a tsunami. So you didn't really get much tsunami out of this because this sounds like another one of those things that they're able to create things like exploding volcanoes.
Yeah, I always thought like earthquake and or the division of the land as the land opens on up and water drops on in, then that basically causes the tsunami. Yes.
Yeah, but there was no earthquake there. Well, that's the interesting part. How do you have a volcanic eruption without an earthquake?
Well, the sensational part of it was they showed the radar, the satellite radar, and the plumes of smoke from like miles up in space, and it was and it was scary to see. But like you said, if there's no shifting of plates, then you don't have any kind of tide.
And they said they couldn't detect that it was coming because the way you detect that one of those is coming is seismic, shaking in the ground, and there was none of that. So you tell me how they did that.
Right. Yeah.
I'll just say when it comes to Mother Nature, she could dish up some things that, I mean, the fury of Mother Nature, I just leave it at that. I've witnessed some pretty strange things in my 63 years, and it's kind of going, I have no way of explaining it. I don't think the weatherman had any way of really truly explaining it. You just witness a strange event.
Yeah, it was a strange event. So you guys living through the craziness over there? I know I have friends. I came from Seattle, and all my friends, well, half of my friends have already moved out of Washington because they're doing mandates there. And one thing you probably didn't know about Washington is they use that as the canary in the coal mine for every crazy stunt that the Democratic Party wants to pull. I mean, really crazy stuff. They experiment on the people in Washington first. So that's why the first COVID cases were in Washington, because
Really?
that's the home of Bill Gates and
There
the
you
owner of
go, right there.
Amazon.
Is that coincidence? Yeah.
And it started off with in nursing homes.
Is that right?
Yep. So everybody's moving out of there.
Yeah, there's
I'm
been.
glad I'm glad I'm here.
Well, how long have you been living in Thailand now, Steve?
I got a wild hair. And I don't think I have ESP or anything. I think my fiance does, but I certainly don't. She knows when an earthquake is coming because she's alerted me to them here. But I knew I followed this great reset thing and the New World Order and all for a long time, and I knew when I saw what they were doing with real estate that they were going to crash that market, and I decided it was probably time in 2018 to get out of there, and I looked for a place that had local food supply because I knew food would be important. By the way, I didn't know they'd use a virus, but it makes perfect sense that they would use a virus and that they would use Bill Gates. Bill Gates and I went to the same private boys' school. Okay, his father and my father did some kind of business together, and he hated Bill Gates, his father, because they're both the biggest racists he ever met. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I don't think the press ever devotes any time to any of that kind of stuff now, do they?
Yeah. And not only that, but and his wife is divorcing him now, and that's got nothing to do with fidelity. Everybody says, well, he was cheating on his wife. No, they had a marriage contract. Everybody knew that he fooled around with everybody, and so did she. So I think she's trying to get out of any connection with what the two of them did with the Gates Foundation.
Right.
So count on her to be the first person to sing to the feds.
Yeah, I did hear they had an arrangement with, he had like an open marriage kind of thing.
Yeah, see, I basically all heard it all through Steve as he was telling me here.
All the women in Microsoft had crosshairs on them, and they were
Oh,
all. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
That's why Bill Gates is gone from there. Okay,
Well,
his board got rid of him because he got caught.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you can't blame. I mean, Bill Gates was a hands-on, owner, right? Well, we'll leave it at that. We'll have a little fun at all this aspect. I always talk about how Kevin goes to the library sites, and I mean, Kevin has sent me so many different materials over the years of what medical cannabis can do for you. It's like it's wrong that it's not being grown here in the United States. It's just wrong. I mean, there's no other country I would rather live into right offhand, and there's a reason why a lot of people are coming to the United States. But boy, there's some things that got to be corrected in this country because then it's all about the greed. That's the sad part. It's about greed.
Well, look, let me give you one more product that you need to kind of know about. So the UN has had an RFP, request for purchase, for a replacement for Similac for years now, because Similac is a baby formula. They give away millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of baby formula to mothers that can't breastfeed every year. But they're giving them Similac, and Similac is made with soy. The thing about soy baby formula is extremely high in estrogen. Okay, if you go through a sex change operation, not that you're thinking about it, I'm sure.
Pay attention, Dan.
I have a career in weightlifting. I want to be known as Sheena. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you know what? You could probably win a women's wrestling competition.
Maybe. You're pushing it.
I'm not getting real good moral support from Mr. Frye. As you can tell here right now.
Daniela, come on.
You never do. I understand that. But right now, and I don't know if you do it or not, but I can't come back to America and make the products that I'm making here. That's illegal for me to call them medicine.
Right.
Because you can't get a product that's got anything from a plant in it approved as a medicine by the FDA. Did you know that?
No.
Right.
That's why you don't have any plant-based medicines out there.
Yeah. Well,
That's why I had to leave.
Well, they
leave
can't
the
patent
US.
it. They can't patent it. That's why.
Right. You can't patent it, but you think if it's safe, couldn't they approve it?
Well, don't they hold a patent on CBD?
No. What they did, we can talk about that sometime. GW Pharmaceutical cheated on the patent, okay, and they got caught. One of their competitors caught them and sued them, and they pulled their patent.
Really?
Yeah. These pharmaceutical companies are just really a piece of work. They would kill me. George Soros would kill me if he could. That's why I'm much safer here. No, I cost him $7.5 million in 2011. I ran the No on I-502 campaign in Washington. That was the legalization bill. Well, when I say prohibition model, here's the prohibition model. I will give you a license now. You give me all this money because you're a millionaire, because you think marijuana growing is going to make you a fortune and it would be fun, right? It would be fun, and you know nothing about it. So you decide to go into that business, and then I put the state puts a 45% tax on it. Okay, now the state is making all the money you used to make growing marijuana, right? And you're working for the state. Washington State, 45% sin tax. Those growers aren't growing anything. Look at California now. Growers aren't making shit.
Right.
They're taxing them to death. That's all legalization meant was I can license to some millionaires. I can take those bribes. They're stupid enough to go for it because they're following the shiny object, right? Then they can't make any money at it. In 1 year, over 1,000 producer processors with licenses in Washington went bankrupt. 1,000 in 1 year.
Wow.
So when you say legal, that's what Soros did. That's what all of his initiatives, legalization initiatives was to fool you into thinking we have legalization. So you don't need to legalize medical because it's already legal recreationally, right? But you can't make medicine. Right. As long as you can't make medicine, you have a problem. With baby formula, you can make hemp milk. Did you know you make hemp milk out of hemp seed, hemp grain?
Right.
Yep. You can make hemp milk out of it, and hemp milk makes the best baby formula next to mother's milk in the world. And that can replace.
Make some little bastard sleep all day. They don't cry at all.
I invented something at one point just as a joke, and I wish I could sell it because I know every elementary school teacher would buy it. It's called kid gas. You can spray it on them, because you can't shut the little bastards up. You just spray it on them and paralyzes their vocal cords for now. They can cry, they can do whatever they want. And then I went, okay, what we really need is one for the mothers, right?
Yeah.
So we did super kid gas, okay? You spray that in the room, but I wear a mask, of course. Spray that in the room, and they go down for a nap for as long as you like.
Yeah.
I got some pushback. I
bet. Some angry lesbians out there, want to kill you.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've heard of hemp milk, but I've never seen it. Is there?
You make it in a blender. You make it in a blender.
Really? Just take hemp seed and you'll put it in a blender?
Yeah, and the nice thing is, picture a big blender that spins really fast, and you put the hemp seed in, shelled hemp seed, and water. Okay. And part of that is going to turn into this white liquid. The rest of it is pure protein. And now you can take that protein and you sell that as hemp protein powder. And hemp protein powder is the best protein powder you can eat. It's the healthiest.
Right.
There we go. I think that's a perfect business right there. Protein power, endorsed by toxic masculinity. Come on now,
All right. Well, I'll send you the suppositories, but I want to. Can you guys use them on camera?
Oh yeah.
We'll down up on the table here, as an experiment.
Dan and Kevin are all for that.
Yeah.
We'll put Don's mustache and put his face on his behind there.
You got a gun.
Okay, but there'll be some red ones, and those are for Dan. Some red ones. Those will be the habanero ones.
I'm not okay. I gotta say, Kevin already knows I don't take spicy. I don't take the spicy stuff there too well.
You just put Beast on one and put Predator on the other one. That's all.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend is Thai, and she's got hyperthyroidism, so she is extremely sensitive to anything. She can't take aspirin, and I'm trying to get her over the hyperthyroidism with cannabis, and it's like she can't even take one drop. So it's like smearing a little on her finger, trying to get her up there. But everybody should be taking cannabinoids in one form or another. Okay.
Well, again, the human body has the cannabinoid system into it, so I mean, it just mirrors right out. I mean, when Kevin kept sharing all these different library science, different abstracts, it blew me away when I saw this, because Kevin was talking about the cannabinoid system and the cannabinoids, and I kept when I started reading this stuff, it's like, it just blew my mind that your body actually has this. It was like it's a match made in heaven, as far as I'm concerned. It's made for each other.
Yep. And where the fiber is going to make some real sense, is you know what graphene is?
Yes, I know graphene is. Yes.
Okay, yeah, graphene is used for making superconductors and that kind of thing. And for electric cars, that's a huge thing. And right now, 70% of the graphene in the world, which is extremely expensive to mine, 70% of that comes from China. I love being dependent upon China.
Yeah.
I mean, not a good idea, right?
Probably Afghanistan now too. Sure.
Yeah. When the Canadians figured out how to take the hemp fiber and put it in a special oven, and they can make graphene out of hemp for next to nothing.
Really?
Yeah. Now that's worth some money.
That's great.
So there's a lot of really, really good hemp products. It's just, you got to kind of, if anybody was interested in investing in hemp or cannabis, stay away from the shiny things. Stay away from the CBD. Stay away from the THC. Stay away from the laboratory business, because it's really the most valuable thing. Probably number one is going to be hemp food, because you can make hemp cheese. A friend of mine, Richard Rose, invented hemp cheese back in 1993. So even if you don't like dairy products, there's your vegan cheese. Or you can make sour cream with it. You can make ice cream with it. Hemp ice cream. I'll be doing that here.
Yeah.
Well, I still like that construction aspect, the hemp adobe. I kept thinking like that. That should be used in the construction field alone. I mean, knowing that you got a home that's basically, unbreakable, won't wear down. I mean, you may have to slap a new coat of paint onto or something like that, but you're good to go.
The whole neighborhood will gather around and it catches on fire.
It is so strong that it doesn't need rebar. Doesn't need rebar.
That's amazing. Not even need rebar. Is there maybe, Steve? Do you have any like a social media, or is there anything that you want to share if people want to get in contact with you for what things are you looking for? I mean, we want to try to benefit you in some aspect here right now. I mean, I could sit out here for hours and talk to you about different aspects, but I want to know that it is what time is it in the morning there right now? I mean, you've been on
now it's 8 a.m.
Yeah, that was it. But I think we started around
time to get up.
Yeah, But
I did my first vlog today at 4 a.m.
Yes. So I know you're a very early riser there. It's like going, woof. I don't think people realize how much of time difference. We do appreciate you taking the time there to be with us, but it's kind of going. I mean, I could again chat for quite some more time. I don't know what kind of time restrictions.
The best thing you guys can do. First of all, I am not a self-promoter. Okay, I've never been a self-promoter. I wouldn't even get up and give a speech about hemp and cannabis until I learned everything about it. And then for years I didn't do it simply because it was too dangerous for me. I couldn't make medicine and grow it and be an activist. And then I did. And then I got raided all the time. But the thing you can do is get the real information out there. The fact that they aren't teaching endocannabinoid system,
right,
a huge thing. The fact that I can't come there and make medicine that will cure epilepsy for a penny a dose. You could have all of those things and you don't get them because of Big Pharma and because they're allowed to bribe all of your elected officials. And they did.
What?
Which
Okay.
is why you're in the situation you're in right now.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.